And welcome to the Redeye stream number 253. It's Monday, so we're going to talk a little bit about the news. MC's out of town, so we won't have to hear him rant about dropping a rock on all of us. Memes, how are you doing? You're not late. It's 3 on the clock on the dot. Good job.
I'm late by a minute. My bad.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, so we got a great story to open up with. It's really quite interesting. Jensen, is this your ex-girlfriend?
No. Right. Okay, this appears to be from SF Gate. I'm going to assume that's something to do with San Francisco. Woman enters stranger's house. Live streams rant on social media. An East Palo Alto woman faces felony burglary and robbery charges after walking into an apparent stranger's house in Woodside Sunday afternoon and live streaming a rant on social media before stripping to her underwear and walking into the backyard, San Mateo County Sheriff's investigators said.
Okay, a little interesting piece of knowledge there. I've talked about this in live streams before. I actually got arrested in San Mateo once, so that's interesting. Okay. All right.
So what you're actually admitting is that actually it was you as the woman. Now we know the secrets of Mad Dodge.
No. But what I am saying is, how crazy do you have to be to break into someone's house and live stream in the act of doing it? And then after that, you decide, you know what's a great idea? I'm going to strip down to my underwear and go frolic in this bitch's backyard.
Yeah. Okay, I don't want to seem a bit too prejudgy here, but does this woman's carer realise that she's walked out and wandered off? It's a little bit disturbing, in my opinion.
Know. Memes, how did she break out of your house and end up on the West Coast?
Wait, what?
This is the ex-Mrs. Memes, right?
I talked to her the other day. I don't think she was in California.
I hope not, because this happened yesterday. So you might want to call her.
Well, I did call her yesterday, but I didn't get a response.
Uh-oh.
Now we know. Right. Honestly, what do you say to people doing stuff like that? I understand that some people may have internet issues, but popping into a random stranger's house to steal their computer and use it to stream, damn, that is what you call dedicated streamer right there.
What?
Yeah.
You're in California, don't they have computer cafes?
Why bother paying for it when you can just burgle someone else's house?
But I thought they were free.
Well, and we're talking the San Francisco area. I mean, do you want to step over the homeless person in the vomit to get into the computer internet cafe?
Fair point.
You ever tried to get vomit off of brand new shoes? Not fun.
I think we've broken memes. Awesome.
That was a record. 4 minutes? MC's not even here.
You need to clean off any bodily fluids early and often. You don't want to let them linger.
Well, the more you know.
I have nothing I can say to that.
Well, I mean, yeah, I got to commend her as well on her dedication to live streaming. I think that's a little bit over the line, and I'm not sure. Did they have a pool in the backyard? Maybe that explains her stripping. She's like, "Oh, a pool."
No, I have just noticed something. She was inviting people over to that house for a party, says Detective Rosemary Blankswade, adding it wasn't clear what else she was talking about while live streaming. We didn't get a good explanation. During the live feed, Hassan stripped to her underwear and then carried the cell phone into the backyard and continued her feed. Yeah, that is what you call a seriously dedicated streamer. I'm
But
sorry, Mad.
wait,
You, go on,
she
Mad.
she was carrying her cell phone,
It appears so, yes.
so she didn't even
Oh,
need a
no, no, no,
computer. She
no,
could have.
no, no. Hassan is believed to have then grabbed the resident's cell phone and started live streaming her burglary over social media.
Well,
Wow.
that's not wise.
Yeah, that's what you call levels of stupid. Damn. I mean, I understand that people use social media to get their face out there and get their name known. But let's be honest, all that's going to happen to this young lady is she is going to be known as Prisoner 8472, and that's the last we're going to hear of her.
Until she gets out and she live streams.
Oh, you never know. She might live stream her breakout. That'd be awesome.
Hey, yeah, I mean, I kind of see what she's doing here. I mean, there might be a niche, viewership there. You know, people that like to watch crime live on TV.
Yeah. Oh, like I say, people are crazy.
Yeah, no, they just keep saying social media. Like, does this bitch have a YouTube channel?
What, are you going to try and get her on your streams? Oh, actually, there's a thought.
Hey, you know, how can you follow up Patrick Little? Hell, let's bring this bitch on.
Oh, no, come on. Nothing is going to beat that man. He was an absolute legend. Calling MC a Jew, that man wins the internet for the day. He really does.
Wait, what'd I do?
No, not you.
Oh,
We're not blaming you.
Yeah, shut up, memes. No, I'm kidding. No. All right, let's go into the story of probably why you're here, memes. I hear you grew a backbone. Tell me about it. Did it hurt?
wait, what?
You're actually mad at the media for lambasting these high school kids.
Well, that's you initially look at it, and it's being pitched to you like these kids were doing all this terrible shit, and they're just like mocking a Native American elder. It's like, okay, yeah, you're being a dick. That sucks. But if you have a full 2-hour live stream available, and again, I can only base this upon things that have been said and a non-response basically challenging that at this point. And then from the select clips that I did see, you had a bunch of boys from a Catholic high school that were in Washington, D.C. for a March for Life. You have another group of individuals approaching them and basically using homophobic slurs. And then you have a group of Catholic boys defending them, saying they're people too. And then you have another individual come up and like a kid just stands there. He smiles. You have a 16-year-old literally just, okay, what's the worst thing you can say? Oh, he was smirking and he just stood there. So after these kids were defending insults against other members of our country, all of a sudden this kid gets I don't know what to say other than fucking defamed at this point. And you're having adults, actual blue check mark journalists and actual folks that like we're supposed to like have respect for, calling for violence against children. Fuck that.
Yeah, no, and I was looking on Twitter about that. Some people were saying, yeah, we should lock those kids into their school and burn it down. And I'm just thinking, wow, these kids don't matter at all. But, you know, we all got to give a fuck about David fucking Hogg. I said his goddamn name. I'm sick of hiding from that little bitch. Come take my fucking channel down, you little cunt. Fuck you. And fuck the Parkland students, for that matter. You can't have it both ways, memes.
Well, no. This is a violation of what many folks on the quote unquote left say that we're supposed to do. We're supposed to actually confront and acknowledge our biases. And now you have a bunch of folks being biased and you don't even see them admitting to it. If you're going to admit it, you have to admit it whether you like it or not. And it doesn't matter who you are. You just have to acknowledge, yes, we do each have personal biases. We do each have our own unique life experience. But to assume malice where I see none demonstrated, what's the worst thing you could say? The kid was smirking. But this is just one of those things. We're at the point now where we've exceeded definition. We're calling for violence against children. And that ain't right wherever or whoever you are.
Well, I agree with you.
Well, what's worse? I'll throw this out to all of you. The kid smirking at somebody or the grown-ass man getting in the kid's face, banging his drum in his face. Which one's worse?
Obviously,
which one is more threatening? Yeah, which one's more threatening for that matter?
In my opinion, it's the adult. Simply put, that kid is a kid, for God's sake. It's not like the kid was, getting in his face, being aggressive, being offensive, or anything. He was just standing there with a smirk on his face. I mean, are they now telling us that smirking is now racist? Oh my God.
Well, I mean, if it's the okay symbol is, then, smirking must be as well. What do you think, Voice?
Voice is sorting his DVDs.
No, that would take longer. About what?
Awesome.
Oh, welcome to the Redeye, Voice. We're talking about the protest that happened where the Catholic high school kids, their video went viral. Media flipped out on them. Yeah.
That was a nothing burger. That is basically the only good thing that came out of that was, at least to the uninitiated, to maybe the less than hardcore centers and center lefts, it showed the mainstream media for exactly what it is. Nothing but lies and propaganda. I mean, the amount of backsliding, or when someone tries to pull back on something they did.
Backsliding.
Yeah, but that's usually someone who's had a bad habit but backslid into it. But there's another word when the media would say something and then they say something else to try and cover it up. But the amount of shit they're doing to say, "Oh no, look at this! CNN brought out a new piece. Oh, this is new footage which gives a fuller picture." And you're like, well, why didn't you just look it up before? It was all out there at the same time. You could have done some sort of, journalistic research, but they couldn't be bothered. So I would say the kid who was smiling I know he's been invited on to Louder or Crowder, so there's a good chance he'll come out on top of this. So.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that as well. I'm not going to read the whole op-ed. I'm just going to read the little beginning here that I posted in Discord. But this is an op-ed from Fox News. The young men of Covington Catholic High School have been subjected to nothing short of a political inquisition because of their faith, the color of their skin, and their devotion to making America great again, and they are owed an apology. That's a little divisive as well. I don't think they were being harassed because they're Catholic. You know what I mean?
True. Let's be fair. The entire thing was because at least one person was wearing one of those prescribed hats. How dare he? Obviously, he's some sort of Nazi and needs to be punished. No, that's just bloody ridiculous. The kid was wearing a hat, so what? The adult came over, caused the issue, therefore it's the adult's fault. He's the one that should be dealt with, not the kids. They did nothing wrong. And you can sit there and make the joke about did nothing wrong if you want to.
Yeah, no, and the adult, I believe, was a veteran, like a Vietnam veteran or something. He should know better, for real. And a grown-ass man, bigger than you when you're 16, staring you down up in your face is quite intimidating, especially with the political violence that has been so prevalent in America the last 2 to 3 years.
Agree. It's simply put, this world is eating itself bite by bite. I dread to think where it's going to end up. I really do. And this is coming from somebody who has a very dark outlook on the world. I actually think it's getting worse than I thought it was going to. That's scary.
Memes. Isn't that kind of the point, though, that the grown-up knew he was intimidating this high school student, especially with what, like I said before, with the political violence that's been so prevalent?
I mean, you can't say what's in another person's head nor heart. You can only listen to their words. If their words don't end up matching, then you have reason to be skeptical. I mean, you have reason to be skeptical about pretty much anything, but it's just we have to acknowledge whatever facts may actually still freaking exist in the world. It's just we have so much freaking technology. We have the ability to communicate with folks all across the world in milliseconds. We have the ability to literally record any major event that's going on in the world right now. It's like if there is such a thing as truth, like, don't we have the ability to at least try to derive the best possible form of it now with the technology we have? Like, are we just incentivizing folks to just go after and just destroy each other?
Yeah, no, and there's some hot takes in the chat from Hammered Spud. Okay, so first he says, obviously the kid, because he can activate the powers of whiteness and destroy the racially impure. And then after I brought up the veteran part, he said, did anyone ask if he was a United States Army vet or a Viet Cong vet? Damn. Spud's in the mood today.
Well, the thing is with this, you look at what's going on, and it's like, this is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, man. Like, whatever happened to the old, I have a dream that my 4 little children will be not judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. And this is where we are.
Funny you bring up MLK, because we obviously we're going to talk about him. I do have something in here. I don't know if we need to open it or not, because I think it's pretty much common knowledge. But give me a second. All right. Martin Luther King Jr. was denied a concealed carry permit for self-defense in Alabama in 1956. Yeah, they've been using gun control laws and stuff like that a long time, for a long time, to stop any group of people that they as in the state or the federal government does not approve of. And if you look at Martin Luther King Jr., that's a prime example. Denied concealed carry permits in southern states. Why? Because he was a civil rights activist. Giant FBI file on him. Why? Because he was a civil rights activist. What ends up happening to him? Oh, yeah, he gets shot. Don't you think it would have been nice if he had a gun to defend himself?
Yeah, I'm sure that would have made a whole lot of difference.
Yeah, that particular instance, he was assassinated, man.
Well, okay. Well, that's it, though? You're going to just let it hang there? I mean, you're looking at the government right now trying to bring in new gun control laws at state levels, Oregon, Virginia, at federal levels, bump stock bans. Okay, they're going to target the people they don't like. And when the Republican government goes away and the Democrats have complete control of power, which the pendulum always swings from one direction to the other, who do you think will be on the list of people who shouldn't have guns?
I can't imagine it's going to be the Democrats. Something tells me it's going to be a particular gender and a particular racial ethnicity. Now, I'm not going to state any specific ones here, but it shouldn't be bloody difficult to work it out if you've got more than 2 brain cells to rub together.
Hey, how dare you try and say that Asian females shouldn't have guns in America? How dare you? I mean, that's obviously who they're going to go after, right?
Oh, yes, without a question. I mean, it's not like, that they're a forward-thinking, progressive group that consider their options completely and think them fully through. No, they are a group that just overreact and will blame. Well, we know exactly who they're going to blame, and we know exactly how bad it's going to get. It doesn't take a lot of thinking to realize things are going to get very, very bad in your moment. The wrong people have the power. And I know how harsh that sounds, and I don't really mean it to offend anybody. I'm just trying to state the truth.
Well, yeah, and here's another thing to think about when it comes to Martin Luther King Jr. It took a bullet to stop his free speech. You know what it takes to stop our free speech? A company on the internet to say no, fuck off. That's, I don't know. If there's a slippery slope, that would have to be one, right?
Yeah.
Jensen,
Isn't it?
Jensen, you just terrified me with what you were just laying out there, because I just entertained that idea, and it's terrifying. Because what's one of the things that they're coupling to potential firearms restrictions? They start talking about mental health. What was recently released by the APA, basically an analysis, basically saying that guys are different, or basically, I haven't read it. I haven't even read the abstract, but it's almost laying out that being a dude is almost, I don't even want to say a form of a mental illness. It's if you're laying it out that certain folks are problematic and you're basing it on an immutable characteristic, that just seems wrong. I mean, if you're going to use something like as a study or a guidance or something, but some folks out there may actually extrapolate that into, if you're going to start restricting folks based upon mental health, whatever they're trying to define that as, just giving in this climate, and other folks are saying, well, basically guys are all messed up for being guys, like you're almost in I hate even saying this, but you're almost laying the groundwork to say, well, if you're a dude, well, something could go wrong. Maybe you shouldn't have a fire. I mean, again, that's the least charitable interpretation, but I fear there may be some that would use that, and just don't seem right.
Well, no, I was more or less commenting on the fact that the people in power always have something to fear from political speech of any kind. And at least back in the day, they couldn't really stop you unless they killed you. Now they could deplatform you completely and shut you down from any way of getting your voice out there whatsoever. They can get you fired from any job you could try and get. They can totally dehumanize you, and it doesn't even take a bullet.
Yeah, disturbing, isn't it? I've been trying to tell people how bad things are going to be. As much as I enjoy being right, I kind of hate the fact that we have got to this point. The only question is what can we do about it? It's not so much what are we going to, it's what can we do about it?
We got to stand up, man. So we got to do. I was talking with Mr. Ogre about this the other day. He was asking, like, what's it mean to be a man? And aside from just, I don't know, the most I could boil it down to, if you're going to define it as an archetype, it's to stand up when need be. You just gotta stand up. You gotta do something. And it's like, what do? We need folks to actually. Unfortunately, I'm going back to almost what like MC kind of harkens to. It's just we need folks to start to lead. We need folks to do actual stuff and things that, like, will make a difference. And like, what do we define as making a difference? This live stream right now, somebody somewhere may take something away for better or worse. Everybody does affect everyone in some way or another, but it's just, it needs to be something real. It needs to be something truthful. It needs to have actual substance. And it's almost like we truly are in like a war of memetics here. And if that's how it works, then I don't know, maybe we need better memes.
Can I counter that with a simple question? What do you think is going too far then? After all, this may well end up in a situation of open war on the streets. Do you think that that is going too far? Or do you think whatever it takes? That's something people will have to make as their own personal decision.
I think, unfortunately, there are folks on both of the quote-unquote proverbial sides that want that on the outer edges of each. They both are looking for the potential violent revolution. And as much as it pains me to say this, I have been in some leftist style streams where they're literally saying, well, we need to have firearms training. It's like, I don't think I actually heard the calling for basically a violent revolution, but it kind of sounded like that to me. I was getting that and it's if that shit does happen, it's just I don't want to see more Americans killing Americans or just freaking anywhere in the world just because you got Paris on fire and shit. I don't want to see another world war over this stuff. That just seems like a waste of life.
Yeah, well, when you make peaceful revolution impossible, you make violent revolution inevitable.
That sounds like a famous quote, is it?
Yeah, I don't remember who said it. I definitely didn't make it up. I can't take credit.
That almost sounds like a Karl Marx saying.
Ooh, I don't know whether he should be insulted there or not.
But no, Jensen, I would say your question is pretty much what's the difference between Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X? That's the difference, right?
Yeah.
Martin Luther King Jr. preached peace, turn the other cheek. They keep standing up and they will have to listen to us. We start committing violence and they don't need to listen anymore. Malcolm X, well, he went the other way with it. I don't know who was right. They both ended up dying for their beliefs.
True. I mean, at the end of the day, you kind of have to decide that if you're willing to actually stand up, are you willing to die for your belief? And if you are, that unfortunately, that is the kind of leader you need, because you need to work on the idea of what would the other side do. Please note I put in air quotes there. And then plan for whatever they're going to do, because the moment you start trying to humanize your opponents too much, then they get to pull a shock tactic on you. And again, going back with MLK, him getting assassinated was a bit of a shock. I don't think any of us will disagree there.
You need to treat people like human beings. That's the only way I see out of this as a staying solution for at least a good while. Because otherwise, what will happen? You have violence. You may have a potential revolution. And then you'll have folks come into power. And then that will last for a while. And then other folks will get fed up. And the cycle of violence will just continue in perpetuity. And just this is why I say we need to break the meta. I mean, the meta is shaking. It's getting enraged. It's just the direction we're going in. It's just, and President Trump absolutely has contributed to this. I mean, you can't deny it, because a lot of the quote unquote barriers we used to have, the guardrails and stuff like that, at least feigning that you treat your actual opponent like another human being, just that seems to have all gone by the wayside. I mean, you have adults literally calling for the naming, shaming, doxing of kids, calling for violence, like some folks freaking directly now. And it's to the point where it's like, as far as I know, there could be a whole bunch of potential lawsuits being filed and everything, for everything from defamation to incitement to violence. And I mean, if this is actually true and all those things are provable, which again, I am not an attorney or anything, but just this shit just seems absolutely freaking wrong. If these cases are actually proven, that would be a precedent, because when was the last time you actually had a case of some form of defamation that was actually won? I can only think of like Hulk Hogan and Gawker, and like that's the only more recent one that comes to memory, but you haven't really seen anything like this. And if this is going to qualify for something, I mean, that maybe that would set a precedent where folks take a step back. A lot of journalists that have been getting overzealous over these years and stuff, they actually take a step back and realize, I should double and triple check, because as far as I know, actual journalistic standards are supposed to have like 3 sources. And I don't know, man. I haven't been seeing it.
Well, no, they're not even doing their jobs anymore. I mean, why even bother to get a degree? Why not just start a YouTube channel and, I don't know. Like, it seems like the people from CNN, MSNBC, insert big media company here, they don't even care to look up more than one source anymore at all.
Well, actually, Matt, you just hit on something I think that may be a factor here. And the biggest thing that I think everybody needs to do is to at least accept where we may have each contributed to our own hell on earth, if you would. Basically contributed to negative things in the world. And the reason why I say that, and whether it's advertent or not, you look at a lot of these places, and a lot of these places for a long time, they're more or less not necessarily the monopoly, but more or less the oligopoly on a lot of information that people take in. And then with the rise of the internet, the YouTubes, the Streamies, the BitChutes, and everything of the world, we've now put it into a world where it's just all of a sudden something happens. And then you can have, just this random YouTuber get on, do a quick story, get tens of thousands of views or something. And all of a sudden, a lot of these big places, if they're waiting for like multiple sources and everything like that, they can easily get scooped. So, I mean, a lot of these places, if they're acting in their own self-interest, if they're not fully vetting things, double checking, fully watching the content available to be able to say what the actual facts are, who, what, when, why, and then the how, you can get into that. I remember that was a show on Nickelodeon back in the day, like W5 plus H. And they actually went over stuff like that. And again, maybe it was just so long ago, but I have to believe that a lot of this may be just coming from perhaps certain folks there. They're just like, you need to get this story out. You need to get this story out. And I don't know, man. We just need to be honest with each other.
Yeah, but they used to do the same thing back in the day, memes. You would have 2 daily newspapers, right, in cities like New York, Chicago, DC, what have you. And if they made a mistake in the morning edition, in the afternoon edition or evening edition, they would have a retraction and correction. They don't even bother to do that anymore.
As a foreigner, I'm going to enjoy saying this. You do understand that the people to blame for the whole media and the way they are now is actually the people that put in the First and Fourth Amendment. Yep, I know you're both going to jump down my throat for this, but it's true.
How?
Because the press are allowed to print whatever they like, apart from anything that is directly impugning someone's, nature, which means they can say whatever the hell they want. The law can't actually get involved. After all, freedom of the press is part of your amendments. The moment you try and start screwing with that, well, it's not like screwing with the amendments is a problem, is it?
Well, I mean, we made a mistake before prohibition, and then we corrected it with a new amendment. But the thing is, we're not going to take away the right the freedom of the press or freedom of speech at all. But I mean,
some people that have been talking about that.
Yeah, and those people are idiots.
That you have folks on, yes, I'll say it, quote unquote, both sides saying that, maybe for different reasons, but if you have certain, this is the thing that I noticed even back in the day when you'd be on, like, whether it was CNN, Fox News, or pretty much any of those major cable news networks, whenever you'd have your Democratic and Republican pundit there, and the anchor would ask, do you feel that we could use a third party in this country? They would both just say, well, you know what, we have an imperfect system, but you know what, it has a way of working. And they would agree on it. I'm like, wait a second. I'd watch these exact same two individuals on representing either side, and they will disagree on pretty much anything under the sun, aside from maybe liking chocolate chip cookies, and they will just disagree vehemently. But when asked that question, they just so actively agree, just because, like you were saying, MD, we have a very big pendulum effect here. It swings to one side, it swings to the other, it swings to, and just it continues on. And it's just, you know what? As long as we're living in a binary system like that, it seems we're just going to keep on having, our Congress, our representatives, they're not doing it. Oh, they're a bunch of bums. Let's vote the bums out. And we vote someone else in. And then at some point, oh my God, these guys are bums. Oh, let's vote these folks out there. And we keep on going through this. So at some point or another, you know that your side is going to be back in power, and just, it works and has worked for us in the past. I mean, I'm ranting about this right now, but at the same time, what happens if you go another way? Because you look at the UK and you have a lot of these parties that have been so entrenched for a while, and yeah, it does have a bit of a different makeup, but we need to treat each other like human beings, in that we need to acknowledge that, yeah, you know what? We can be wrong. And that's why we got to focus on at least the truth, because at least, even if our own truths may be different, we need to have some form of commonality, ability to relate to our fellow creature. Because as long as you do that, as long as you do something that is human, and the other person, even if they disagree with you, even if they feel like they vehemently hate you, just even small acts of humanity, they can go a long way, and it makes it a lot harder to view you as a demon. Because why is it so easy to demonize somebody where you watch a video clip of them? Because it's a very low resolution, just 2D analysis. They're just a caricature. And it's easy to go after a caricature because it's like you're going to use that individual as an avatar for so many of the things you hate. Because this kid there, it's like, again, I don't know what's in the kid's head nor heart, but I feel that far too many people are projecting their hatred of President Trump on this kid, their hatred of an oppressive patriarchy, and just all these other things. Just, you're projecting it upon a single individual who, at worst, was being slightly disrespectful and smugly smiling and smirking at an individual. And just the call for violence against it, that's just fucking wrong.
Yes, I agree. And I know we don't agree that often, sir, but I completely agree with you there, Memes.
I don't know. A few statements in that short little rant I would disagree with. Memes. For one, as the pendulum swings from left to right, my side never wins. So, yeah, I'm not a Republican and I'm not a Democrat. That's for damn sure. But I do agree with your premise that they are imprinting their own personal bias upon characters of people and not who the people really are. Look at the NPC meme from one side and Orange Man bad, or the dumb Trump fucking hat wearing redneck on the other.
That's the thing, we're dehumanizing each other, and this is something that many folks have called out for a while. And it's just, if you're going to call out a group, a tribe, whatever you want, for dehumanizing folks, and that's what you truly believe, that's fair enough. But if all of a sudden you are going to use the same thing that you're actively denouncing against another individual, well, that's just hypocrisy, man. You don't do that. It will occasionally happen, but I mean, you got to acknowledge that, you know what, if you mess up, own it.
Speaking of a society where they are plunging headfirst into violent upheaval, Venezuela, one of the leaders of the Venezuelan National Guard told people to rebel against the government. The coup was immediately shut down, from what I read, but who knows? I doubt it was shut down that quickly. I'm sure there's still elements wanting to rebel. Venezuela is going to burn. Is that a good thing? Should we get marshmallows out?
There have been people starving in that country for a while now. And you know what? As much as we may disagree with the politics and everything, growing up, and even up until more recently, dude, even up here in Massachusetts, a very liberal state that has a whole crap ton of social programs, public assistance, and everything, I still remember seeing ads on TV with Joe from Citgo, and they were providing low cost or free heating oil for folks in a pretty darn well-to-do state that isn't even a state. It's a commonwealth in the United States of America. And I'm like, why are these folks helping us in the richest nation in the world? And you know what? You can call it PR, you can call it whatever the hell you want, man. You know what? I remember Joe from Citgo and the people of Venezuela were providing that in our community. And you got to remember that. So it's just, you got to feel humanity for folks, because there are folks literally starving there. And it's so unfortunate that a country that was as rich as Venezuela, if properly invested in everything, they could be just one of the guiding economies along with Brazil and everything in South America. And it's a sad state that we're at now.
Yeah, but you can't identify why they're in this position, right? And I want you to identify it. I'm not gonna.
Oh, they're giving out like free air conditioners and a lot of just like goodies and stuff that people really appreciate. But as far as actually truly needing that, if you actually had like updated like your oil technology, actually diversified the economy, I mean, you're giving out folks all these freebies, and that's great, but it's like the grasshopper and the ant, man. The grasshopper's out there just living it up and everything, but just bad times will come at some point or another, and it's just winter is coming. At least up here in the Northeast, dude, it's here. I was freaking up at like 3 a.m. yesterday doing snow removal. Freaking, it will always come. Good times will never last forever. You just got to plan as well as you can. Because I think, what was it? I think it was Abraham back in the Bible or something. He ended up, or maybe it was Jacob. I forget who it was, but he was known as basically a seer, because what did he tell? What did he tell, like the king or the emperor, whoever it was? He's like, you will have 7 years of plentiful bounty, followed by 7 years of famine. Store your goods for those 7 years and everything. Stock up, so when times get rough, you can actually play it out. And that's a story from a couple thousand years ago, but it still holds true today. And it's just so easy to get caught up in living high and mighty and stuff. But just, you got to keep yourself grounded in some way.
Yeah, no, and I'm looking at the chat. Loafer's here. What's up, Loafer? I already said hi to Spud. We got Tim Tarbox. He says, Memes is from Massachusetts? He may be the most oppressed person I know. Everything is illegal there. Well,
no. Actually, surprisingly, the one thing that Massachusetts has on a lot of other places, and actually even New Hampshire, which their state motto is live free or die, is at our gentlemen's clubs, folks can get fully nude there.
Why is that the one thing you're pointing out that's good for Massachusetts?
Well, I never said that was the one thing. I just said that was a thing where there weren't actually restrictions.
Anyway, we're moving on. Okay. This is a nope moment for everybody on this Monday. Huge python in toilet gives Australian man and his family a fright. A man was getting ready to do his business on Saturday morning when he was startled by a large carpet python peeking its head out of the toilet. Nope. I'm moving at that point. I'm fucking out of there.
Wait, hold on. Did this actually happen?
Yes.
That's terrifying. No, I read a book as a kid about that. It's like, there's a snake in the toilet. That literally was the story. Kid goes up, and he actually only happened to be doing number one, but right as he's going to, all of a sudden, snake's head points out of the toilet. I remember reading this book.
Yeah, no, and that's when I read that story, that's my first thought is like, I stumble into the bathroom in the morning, fucking hungover, get ready to take a piss, and all of a sudden this python leaps at my dick. Fuck that. Nope. Nope.
Well, they do call it the one-eyed trouser snake. Maybe the python thought it found a mate. What can I say? Maybe you should be proud of yourself, mate.
Yeah, no, and then my brother-in-law, he's visited. He's like, yeah, well, I was just imagining fucking taking my morning shit and having that snake pop out of there. Nope, that's even worse. You got a snake up your asshole at that point, buddy.
Hey, don't go kink shaming people, man. What people get up to in the privacy of their own home, that's their issue. If they like snakes in that manner, who are we to judge?
Yeah, no.
To give consent.
Well, no, and the man discovers a snake, flees the bathroom. I'm guessing he locked the door because I would have. I don't care. Snakes can't open doors. Fuck off. I ain't risking it. The snakes can't crawl up through a toilet either, but there the fucker is.
I did.
And then he called a snake handler in the local Australian community. I'm sure they have snake handlers everywhere. I mean, everything wants to kill you in Australia. But now they're sneaking in through the sewers. I mean, starting to make me think that alligator thing from New York is real too. There's fucking alligators in the sewer, man. I'm telling you.
Their animals are always cute when they're small.
Yeah, they're cute when they're small, except when they're climbing out of the toilet trying to climb inside your ass. There is nothing cute at that point. I'm sorry. I know I'm being judgy there, but I don't like the idea of a snake climbing up my ass. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. These motherfuckers need Jesus or St. Patrick or something. Like, somebody needs to go to Australia and get rid of these fucking snakes. You know what I'm saying?
It's such a shame Fluffy's not here.
They play an integral role in this society. You double check before you do your business.
Yeah, no, and I don't know if there's much more we can say about that story other than nope.
That's fair. Like I say, it's a shame Fart is not here because I'd love to hear his opinion on this one.
Yeah, no, and I'm looking at the chat, and I think I'm with Spud. Toilet snake? Nuke the toilet. That would be an appropriate response, in my honest opinion.
No, a toilet snake's supposed to be a tool that you use to unclog a toilet. It's not supposed to be something that looks up and bites you in the balls.
Yeah, no, and the article says it was a huge python, so I'm guessing this fucker was still halfway in the sewer, and it was just its fucking head coming out of the toilet. Fuck that shit, guys. I'm never visiting Australia. I can't do it. Farty, you're a stronger man than I am. I don't see how you could live there.
Oh, yeah, that's why they drive really fast, just because it's like, I gotta keep the adrenaline up just so when the snake's gonna pop out of the toilet, you're at least ready to do a barrel roll.
Yeah. Oh, no. Guys, Tim Tarbucks has come up with the perfect solution. He's going to get a mongoose to lease out for toilet snake removal. That man is a genius.
Huh. Does that work for all snakes or just cobras?
Oh, it works for every snake. They'll eat anything with scales that hisses.
Well, I did watch Ricky Tikki Tavi.
The absolute silence from me should be a clue. Or what?
No, memes. You're always about this whole GoFundMe or Kickstarter thing. kickstart that for the poor people of Australia. We need a charity to where we supply a free mongoose to every family.
A free mongoose in every bathroom.
Yeah, exactly. Because
I feel like that could perpetuate some other things, because if there are no active snakes, they're going to seek out other things to eat.
That might be a problem. I didn't think that one through, huh?
Yeah.
Well, all I'm going to say is this: if their automatic reaction to anything long and moving, and they don't see their primary target, then any well-built gentleman could find themselves in an awful lot of trouble very, very quickly.
Oh man. Okay, so God, all right. Oh, snakes in toilets. I got nothing, guys. What the fuck? All right. Okay, flight attendant accuses passenger of sexual harassment after he allegedly forced the staff to assist him in the restroom in wiping. Are you really that lazy when you're on a plane? You need a stewardess to wipe your ass, and you better be in like first class for that type of treatment. You ain't getting that in coach.
Did they define the man as handicapped?
I did not see that. Here's the article if you want to take a peek at it.
Because that is possible.
There are certain situations. It's just you would need additional information.
Precisely. I'll have a look at that. You guys chat.
But yeah, no. I guess if he is handicapped, that could be a good excuse. Other than that, you're just a fucking weirdo, right, Memes?
There are certain situations, but
gentlemen, it actually states here the woman said an overweight man in a wheelchair needed assistance to use the restroom. So
he was handicapped then.
Yeah.
There are also situations, like I know a guy that competed in a bodybuilding championship, and he happened to be so jacked that he literally could not wipe his own ass. His wife had to do it for him.
Well, I got nothing on that one. If the man is handicapped though, and those airplane restrooms are rather small, he might have really needed help. Well, I mean, I wouldn't want that job as a flight attendant, obviously, but it might not have been sexual harassment. What if he had a caregiver that usually helps him?
I mean, at times like that, you should have your caregiver with you. At least should.
Yeah, I don't know. There's another article about an airline. Drunken British Airways passenger sentenced to jail for assault after he was dumped by his girlfriend over a text message and he got drunk on the plane. I guess the guy somehow smuggled a bottle of rum on the plane because, yeah, they don't give you enough alcohol on a plane, from what I hear, to actually get drunk. Don't they have those tiny little liquor bottles?
You pregame at Legal Seafood. You get a couple cranberry and vodkas, you're in a good spot, and then you get a couple Jack and Cokes on the plane, and you could be in a pretty good spot. Or bad spot in this case.
Yeah. So his girlfriend texted him, dumping him. He wigged out, got in a fight with two other passengers on the plane. They had to turn the plane around and fly back to London, I believe. It was either from Houston to London or vice versa. I think it was London to Houston.
Oh, dude, to have the captain come on the loudspeaker, it's like, you settle down or we're turning this plane around.
Nice.
I don't know, man. That just sounds like the guy was just pissed off and taking us frustrating on other folks.
Well, no one's ever done that right after they've been dumped, ever.
Nope, never, ever. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was looking at the chat. I didn't mean for dead air to come through. Excel says some people are also lightweights. I guess. I don't know.
Well, to be fair, sometimes if you get dumped or you have the feeling of being dumped, that may have been one of the few times where I pretty much just drank a bottle of vodka to myself, just to kind of to ease the pain, to ease the hurt and stuff like that. I mean, other than that, not really a big fan of just drinking just to drink. I usually need other folks around. What's going on, brother?
I love drinking just to drink. It's one of my favorite pastimes. No,
Yeah,
the problem is I like scotch a lot. Like I just enjoy the taste.
Ooh.
And it makes me relax after. I probably drink a couple glasses a night. I'm not gonna lie. I need to stop that.
You ever try McCallum's?
That is not one that I have done, though.
That's an Irish. Actually, I think it might be an Irish whiskey. Yeah, it's actually a whiskey.
That sounds like an Irish whiskey. Yeah.
I went to a taste testing on my birthday before, and 12-year was probably one of my favorites. But by the end, it's like, oh, there's some extra samples. I don't have to drive. Yay!
So I'm not rich enough to constantly buy like Glenfiddich or Speyburn, but I usually drink Dewar's. That's about as cheap as I'll go for a scotch. Over here, it's about $20 a fifth. But yeah, I go through like 3 of them a week. So,
you at least moderate yourself. You're consistent as long as you're not completely binging and going through a couple of bottles in a night. Then,
yeah. No. I'm a big dude too. I'm 6'6", 350 pounds. So that's another reason why I need to stop drinking a couple glasses of scotch a night. Though we're talking like. Because I'm talking probably 6 shots in a night is what we're looking at. That's just like 600 extra calories. I bet if I just stopped doing that, I'd lose weight.
If you cut out calorie-based liquids, like if you just swapped everything you drank to water, that just initial change, you end up.
Yeah, I already do that. I don't drink any sugary drinks. I drink coffee black, and if I occasionally, and this will be if I like drink too hard one night, I go get a diet Mountain Dew, and it's just a citrusy flavor. Whatever it is, man, just makes the shit breath from drinking too much go away.
Oh God, I threw up a little in my mouth. Did you say diet Mountain Dew? Diet? Oh,
dude, I've been drinking diet soda for the better part of a decade. If I'm gonna drink it, I don't buy it ever. It's not like I have any in my fridge. But yeah, I'm just used to it. I mean, you got to really think about it. If soda tastes like shit, if you didn't grow up around it to begin with, especially because we flavor all our shit with corn syrup instead of real sugar.
Yeah, high fructose corn syrup or aspartame. Choose your poison.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the aspartame is less worse in the long run, but if you're drinking them in moderation, then the aspartame's better for you than the sugar, right?
I grew up on massive amounts of diet soda. Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you drink like 3 drinks with aspartame a week, you're not having any problems. So if you're going through 12 packs, right, you won't get diabetes. You might end up with cancer.
That was only proven in lab rats. I think that was saccharin.
Yeah. I know.
Take the blame for it, anyways.
I just assume that anything that's supposed to make things taste good without adding calories, I'm just gonna assume that it's most likely bad for you. When I say taste good, I mean taste like sugar, right? The replacement for that effect, I'm just gonna assume it's bad for you.
Well, to be fair, when they have it 0 or low sugar, what do they replace it with? Usually salt or fat. You're getting one of those. You're getting your calories or your unhealthy things in one form or another.
Oh, yeah, there's already enough sodium in soft drinks.
All right. Since I just looked at the chat and they're talking about it, why not? All right. Andy Worski coming out in the fucking wheelchair with like the fucking head thing on. That was pretty funny, right?
Man, I was late to the party. I'm surprised you didn't get to that yet. No, man. I think Worski, I think a lot of Worski haters are just like, you know what? That motherfucker showed up and they're going to give him a second chance. Meanwhile, everybody that was in Tonka's corner, I would say 90% of them are backing out. I think the only exceptions are the people that he lets on his show.
That's the thing, man. If you're going to do the whole shtick of fight me IRL and you finally get accepted, and then you keep on saying, "Oh, I'm gonna do it," and then you don't do it, man. It's like you didn't step up, and that's like Andy. I mean, whether you love the guy or hate the guy, he stepped up and he showed up.
Yeah, I mean, if Tonka if he really did just fuck up on some paperwork, he wouldn't have given that fake ass apology where it's like, oh, it was an incident with shit at stake. He would have made a real apology saying, I fucked up real bad. I'm still going to be there for all you. I'll show up to the fight and say I'm sorry to everybody in real life because I promised I'd be there and you guys spent money on it. But no, he's just like, why would I go to a fight that's not even going to happen? And I was like, yeah, just show some dignity, man. It completely was the back. So my prediction before all this, and I think a lot of people had this prediction too, they would have the fight, and regardless of whoever won, everybody would become friends again, and the whole gang would be back together. And I was just totally wrong. I thought some of this was a lot of kayfabe and behind the scenes that they were just like, yeah, it's going to be a friendly amateur fight between two people.
Yeah, to be honest, I kind of thought it was all behind the scenes set up like Tonka's other stuff. I found out, it was all set up.
So one thing, Tonka's always been into WWE, so it would make sense that if a lot of the shit talking was, well, I'm sure some of it was real, but I didn't think the visceral was as real as they were making it out to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know. It sounds like the company that was going to put on the fight, the promoter, they lost like $6,000 in return tickets and shit. That's bad form right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're. I just heard all the calls or whatever. I wouldn't normally care about this kind of shit, except for this is a internet drama that turned into real life drama. So it makes it extra interesting. But yeah, they're talking about civil litigation against him.
Oh, wow.
Well, breach of contract at least. I mean,
or if he didn't sign it with the correct name.
Yeah, well, you can have things like gross negligence. Him not signing it with the correct name wasn't even what stopped the fight, according to the commissioner. They could have handled that. He didn't even get licensed to fight in the state of Tennessee, according to the Tennessee Fight Commissioner.
Oh, and Andy went through all that?
Yeah, well, so Andy had the help of the promoter, which is what he's trying to pass it out on. But the reason Andy had the help of the promoter is because Andy is not a United States citizen.
But I'm pretty sure if you were signing for a fight under Valor Fighting or whoever the entity was,
yeah, they would have.
If he reached out, if he reached out, and it's like, hey man, I don't know how to do all this stuff. Could you lend me a hand? I think he would have helped because
absolutely they would have. But he just waited to the last minute to even try. If he tried, he waited to the last minute. Right? He didn't have a physical done. That was another thing they announced, saying that he was in proper shape.
Oh, dude, you need that for high school sports, and if you want to play in high school, so I mean, if you're going to actually have a sanctioned actual fight, yeah, you should get an actual physical and get a note from a doctor.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to Tonka, like, I think 2 times in a voice chat. I never really cared for I didn't hate him. I just thought he was whatever. The Kumite was only funny to me because you'd have, like, people like AP going in there fighting people, you know what I mean? And that was all fake beef. So, yeah, I don't really care about Tonka Saw just from a outside perspective. I don't care about Worski either. It's just, I just don't see how Tonka gets out of this with an internet career. He's going to have to go get a real job.
Yeah, well, I mean, he has 3 or 4 different names, so I'm sure that won't be too hard.
Well, what if they actually rescheduled? If he's like, you know what, I owe the folks an actual performance, but they didn't like.
Yeah, no, he could come back with that saying reschedule, but you'd have to front all the money, and then get a list of people that went to the first one, and at least try to do something to get them in cheap or get it televised. I don't know. He would definitely have to throw up a ton of money to make anybody even want to think to try again. And he would have to do it. And he would have to do it. And he would have to do it up front, right? No reimbursement up front. He would just have to throw up the money.
Yeah, I don't really see that happening. And I'm looking at the chat again here. Tim Tarbox says, between the Tonka thing and Kilroy, there's a lesson to be learned about trying to take YouTube to in real life. Yes and no, I guess. I mean, VidCon goes over well every year.
Yeah, the Mythicist Milwaukee thing's usually pretty cool. And I mean, I know the Mythicist people aren't strictly YouTubers, but that's mostly who they invite is YouTube personalities.
Yeah, I think something like Kilroy could have been done on a smaller scale. Where were they trying to fucking do it? Phoenix or some shit?
Yeah, so here's one of the problems, and this is actually a problem with YouTubers in general. So they decide that, like, oh man, we're getting this money in, and we have the resources technically to schedule some sort of event, but they've never actually done it before. So instead of going out and paying extra to get somebody that's actually, you know, an event coordinator type person, they try to do it all by themselves, and they fuck it all up.
Yeah, when the Kilroy thing was just then going on, I had brought up, you know, you should do it at a small convention center, like Lane Event Center by me. You know, there's the Eugene Airport. People could fly in. You can rent the Lane County Event Center for fairly cheap and do whatever you wanted from right there. Have reliable internet to stream all over the place and whatever. You know, it would have been a fraction of the cost.
Yeah, I mean, it turns out setting up anything with where you're going to have a lot of people, like the bigger the size, the harder and harder it's going to be to get it all set up. I used to set up LAN tournaments when I was a lot younger. At least I helped with it. And that was just like a regional thing. But getting a space that did have, especially back then, that had bandwidth to hold 60 people and then get all the teams signed up and registered in time. Get the prize support in order, food, all that stuff, man. Like, there was fuck-ups every single time. Like, we always had to say we were sorry for something. It's because nobody knew what they were doing. And that was just a little local thing, right? You're talking like 100 people showed up.
Let me throw out a gaming example that I think Jensen will be able to appreciate. So if anybody's ever played Vanilla WoW, getting 40 people together, coordinated, to even just do a Molten Core raid, if they've never done it before, yeah. I'm just throwing that one out there.
Oh God, yes. Standing in Orgrimmar, spamming, looking for more. Who remembers that?
Who aggroed the Surger? That's a 50 DKP minus.
Yeah, well, there'd always be like that one place, like if you just like cross a certain line, man, you were gonna aggro something onto the group before the raid was ready. And there was always somebody that just couldn't figure out where that fucking line was.
And
I knew where that line was, and that's what the level 1 Frostbolt was for. You guys are buffed enough. We got this. We got enough gear. No excuses.
Oh, come on. Let's be honest. 95% of the time, it was a hunter that usually ninja pulled. Didn't they? Come on. Admit it.
Well, somebody said ready. They just didn't acknowledge the question mark.
You ever have so many members go AFK, just like auto following where you're clearing trash that you actually didn't have enough people to clear the trash in the group wipes?
That would never happen.
No, see, we just had to start kicking people out. Just like you're done. You're not raiding with us for like a month because
the best excuse I ever heard while going AFK clearing trash was actually from a hunter, and he was like, "BRB, making a roast."
Wow.
And he was an actual chef too, so I'm like, this makes sense, but it's also the funniest thing I think I've heard in the past 3 months.
Damn.
So I didn't even know Tonka was still doing the morning show. Like, I get up that fucking early. So how many views is he pulling in?
Well, wait, I know he hasn't done it recently.
Oh, okay. So his whole
not since the fight, right? I'm looking it up for you.
Just out of interest.
Oh, never mind. I can't look. I forgot he hid or deleted all his videos.
Why did they pick Tennessee for the fight? Does anyone actually know?
Because Tonka lives there.
Ah, okay. Thank you.
Or near there. It was also because somebody, if I remember right, there was some chick that was in the chat that was like, I can get this set up. right? I can have an actual fight set up, and she was serious.
Oh yeah, it was the gal that she knew the promoter and everything, and
Yep.
he'd been talking about it, and she's like, I can make this happen. And like 5 minutes later, she got in contact with the guy and he's like, yeah, we can do this.
Yep.
Well, the internet tried to go IRL.
So it was funny. I don't think anybody that showed up, though, I don't think they missed anything. It's what I keep telling people that were pissed off about the fight. Like, yeah, Valor should be pissed off because of the refunded tickets. But I think most of the people going down there were just going down there for the meetup. I mean, in my opinion, amateur MMA fights suck. I don't even like most professional MMA fights, but amateur fights especially. Like, it's inevitably going to be going to the ground. It's going to be a lot of grappling. Bad grappling, too, because, you know, neither one of them, apparently Tonka never actually fought before, so neither one of them would have really known what they were doing.
So
Well,
you
at that
wasn't going to be expecting any tombstones or anything cool like that then, huh?
Yeah, it would have been more interesting if it was total kayfabe and they just did like a WWE match against each other.
Well, it would have been entertaining.
Yeah, I can just see War Steve putting
It would have been more
Tonka to the
entertaining
table.
than watching an MMA fight between.
Although if they tried to do that
total
without proper training, that you might be more likely to actually truly hurt another person.
Yeah, probably.
Oh,
So
that
here's
pile
like-
driver couldn't go well.
Here's an interesting thing that popped up on my phone a little bit ago. Suge Knight's son insists that Tupac Shakur is alive and still making music. Okay. I want to see pictures. Like, cite your sources there, Suge Knight's son.
I'm gonna go with either crazy or trying to get attention. Maybe both.
No, I think it's true, and I think they're both working together with Elvis to bring out a new album.
And the real Michael Jackson, not the alien that abducted him and turned him into a half-white creature thing that raped children.
Yeah, no, and if you guys can continue on talking for a second, well, never mind. All right. Here we go again. Suge Knight's son, Suge Knight Jr. Oh, that's a creative name. Is again making some wild claims concerning late rap icon Tupac Shakur. According to the former Death Row head's seed. Wow, that's a weird way they said that. Pac is not only alive, but in the studio. On January 19th, Knight posted on Instagram, I got Pac back in the studio. New music coming. He doubled down on the comments, adding, this ain't a joke. New Death Row coming soon. Okay. This is all for attention, right? And they probably found some old music in the vault somewhere, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like Tupac's family, relatives, and friends are going to see that and be like, you're such a dick. He's completely fucking dead. Stop peddling conspiracy theories for your own benefit.
Well, yeah, exactly. Especially when there's a lot of rumors saying that Suge Knight Sr. Actually set up having Pac assassinated, right?
Like, it's hard enough to fake your death. It's even harder to fake your death and then secretly still be doing exactly what you were doing before you died.
Yeah. I mean, it is weird, though, with all the new music that they have put out from Tupac over the years and how it always sounds like modern music. It doesn't sound like the old rap style, you know?
They just take the tracks and remaster them. I wouldn't even doubt it if a lot of them, they took the tracks and added more tracks to it just to make it sound more modern.
Yeah, really good editing, huh?
You don't even need really good editing. I mean, I've worked with some of the software. Well, I guess it would be editing, but yeah, you can straight up do sound replacement. Like one of the secrets of recording, I'm going to guess most bands do this, but after the drummer records his tracks, they use sound replacement on every single hit. Like, so what you're hearing is not actually the sound of their drum set. It's whatever was programmed in there. It's really that person playing, but it's being replaced. Like, all the sounds are being replaced by some sort of replacement effect.
Yeah, that's why when you see a band live, they don't necessarily sound like they do on their album.
All the best ones sound better.
Yeah, agreed.
That's true, but nowadays they all seem to sound a lot worse.
I mean, that doesn't surprise me just because the music industry has changed so much. I've talked with this with Sinrise a lot. I mean, it used to be that you had to be really good live, and then you had to be something special, and then they would market to you. And then they figured out that, oh, now we have a shit ton of people that are trying to be musicians. So it was just finding the group of people that was most marketable. And now there's so much available music. Like the only music that's like top 40 and popular are just bands that got found that can be marketed. Very few are just bands that were so awesome, talented, and amazing for everybody that saw them live that they inevitably had to become famous.
Yeah, and it seems a lot more artists, I guess, better is the best way to call them, are doing their own thing, you know, setting up independent labels and marketing themselves on YouTube and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's where all the best music is. And like, I mean, now the music industry, if you're a professional musician, you're a starving artist type, just like every other art form. The days of getting signed and getting paid is over for most people.
Yeah, and it looks like it's going that way in almost every performance industry. So like comedy is really going downhill quickly, for example.
Well, part of it is you can't even fucking put on a show anywhere telling good jokes without getting booed off stage for being a racist.
Yeah, and that's not like somebody wigging out like Kramer did. You know, that's just somebody making jokes that Chris Rock would have made in the 90s. You know what I mean?
Yeah, George Carlin would be labeled a fucking alt-right comedian if he was still alive.
Yeah, you know how freaking liberal that guy was? I mean, seriously.
Yeah, no, he was a libertarian in every sense of the word. But then again, libertarian and liberal were almost the same thing. I was having a conversation with one of my coworkers earlier. It was like, so in one of these Facebook groups, I got tagged because they just wanted to hear the conservative opinion. And I was like, when the fuck did I become conservative? I've never identified as such. And honestly, in the last 8 years, my politics hasn't changed that much. I just think everybody else sprinted to the left so far that all of a sudden I would be a right-leaning libertarian, but on all the issues that people were talking about in the early 2000s, man, like I was on the liberal side of everything.
Yeah.
I feel the problem is that people that thought about their political opinion, they haven't thought about the changes that have happened in the world. Now, too many people are being targeted with something that they're not. I mean, let's be honest, MADDS would be considered a Nazi by more than a few people, even though he claims devoutly.
Oh yeah, no. I've been called a Nazi plenty of times recently, even by people I knew in real life, and I'm just like, are you fucking retarded? Like, nothing I'm saying is anything new. I said the same shit to you like 5 years ago before you jumped on the anti-Trump train. And they're just mad at me because I don't hate Trump as much as they do.
Unfortunately, go on, Matt.
Well, no, I was just going to agree because I'm probably not going to vote for Trump in 2020. I'm probably going to vote for the Libertarian candidate again. Yeah, sue me, MC. I don't give a fuck.
No, I'll vote for Trump if the Democrats put up another fucking corporate shill candidate. The DNC's got a real problem, and I think, I mean, some liberals are awake to that. Like Tim Pool talks about it a lot. H.A. Goodman, I guess he's having a conversion. Yeah, but there's people that are left wing by all standards that are just like, yeah, like the Republican Party sucks, but the Democratic Party's been much worse.
Yeah, no, the Democrats, they even have movements within their own party of people trying to leave the party, the walk away movement or whatever.
Well, yeah, and so Tulsi Gabbard announced her presidency, and there was an article from some left-wing outlet earlier today that was saying, well, Tulsi Gabbard's basically just a Republican that ran as a Democrat. And I'm just like, what? No, she's not.
God.
She's a typical anti-war social liberal, right?
Can you explain that idea of this walk away thing? What was the point of that?
The main point I think from the far left is to get more of an influx into the Green Party and kind of supplant the DNC and the old guard Democrats.
There was more to it than that. I mean, yeah, it was replacing the old guard Democrats, but no, some of it was they were just saying that, like, yeah, the Democratic Party, the way it is right now, they do not represent liberal values anymore.
Yeah, what are liberal values these days? Does anybody
Well,
know? Can you qualify
so-
that for me, please?
Yeah. So I don't know who's the oldest person in here. Is it me? 34.
No.
No, it's definitely me.
So oldest American.
Oh, why does American matter? Oh, what? No. What are you segregating now?
No,
This is
it's not about the
segregation.
walkaway movement.
No.
Well, how about now? Do I need my own
Liberal
rules
in
of
America
culture?
means something completely different than liberal in England.
I'm 34 as well, if that's what you're asking. We're the same.
All
age.
But I am using your liberal sense because I understand when Americans say liberal what they mean by it. They're
Gotcha.
not
So
using the actual dictionary definition.
yeah, if I went back to the late 90s and early 2000s, liberals were staunchly against any form of censorship. Right? They were like leading, and actually like the Democratic Party, I'm not going to necessarily say that, but it was very liberal to be one of those people that was against violence in video games, right? And censorship of music and video games, all those sort of things. It was very liberal to be anti-war, and that's just weird. There's no anti-war movement in America right now.
No anti-war movement, right?
I mean, so some of the other ones is like gay marriage, right? That's just that they won that. Like there's not much to argue left there. So
this is the whole point. They've kind of blown themselves out. That's why they're going to eat each other. Now they have to compete against each other, or they just have to act like dicks to everybody else.
Yeah, they won all the good causes they had. They won on, and now they're just coming up with bullshit.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole point. They got what they wanted, and now they got nothing, and they just. But these aren't people who really wanted to achieve anything. They just wanted notoriety or attention or, feeling sense of a group or whatever, a group identity. And what can you do? I mean, they're sort of troglodytes.
That's a brilliant
I was on the way home from work, that's why I wanted to hop in here, even though you guys changed the topic. But you guys were talking about, man, like I would hate, I think it was memes you were talking about, like I would hate to see another actual civil war happen. And I don't think a civil war is going to happen the way you think it is. I think we're already kind of in a cold civil war. And we're not like, because you're also talking about Venezuela, but we're not in an economic collapse, right? Like there's no shortage of fucking food, cell phones, and flat screen TVs in America right now. As long as we can buy all that shit, we're not going to go to war with each other.
But TSA agents are going to make your life difficult when you go, when you get board the plane. So they're going to make because they're pissy.
Well, yeah, I was just going to go with the war's going to be like on, social media platforms is kind of one of the places, but it's really about what you're allowed to say and do. That's where the war is. That's where they're arguing. Like they're going after people's, like it said, they'll just deperson you instead of give you a bullet. Like
dehumanize you.
They will make you irrelevant, make it unable for you to make an income doing anything but sweeping floors at the Quickie Mart, just for having the wrong opinions.
Welcome to Walmart.
So how's that freedom of speech thing working out for you guys? Just want to bring that up.
We're doing better than you are. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. No, sorry, Quinn. You really fucking bit on the wrong bar there.
I never said we were doing well.
At least we're not. At least we're not going to jail. We just have a whole bunch of people that wish we could. All right, that's the one thing the Supreme Court's been really good on here in America is any law that even comes close to breaching free speech usually gets shot down. The bar is really high.
Well, real quick, Cavi, this is funny, dude. Okay, so the Britisher on Twitter, he was yelling at that Caitlin Bennett chick from Liberty Hangout. The Britisher said, "Taxation is theft, yada yada." Meanwhile, what? Who's sucking off the taxpayers? If I can give you some advice, stick to shooting guns in your swimwear, dear. And I replied, taxation is theft, and how's that Brexit going? Do us petty colonials a favor and worry about the UK, would ya? I was channeling my inner MC there, but the Britisher is a cunt, isn't he? Sorry, I'm going to say it live on air. He's a cunt.
No, and the thing is, he's just so disingenuous about a lot of stuff. I mean, I like the guy, you know, in some of the stuff, but he's, again, it's one of these wishy-washy people who just won't commit to any kind of actual, like, no, you know, that when you're not drawing lines or whatever, it's not, you know, line in the sand or anything like that. But there are principles that should be upheld. And he claims them, but then dismisses them in the second breath. And I find that pretty disingenuous.
Well, no, and I don't like the people like, oh, taxation is stuff. Ho, 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 you fucking idiot libertarians. Well, if you like taxation so much, why don't you pay my taxes for me, buddy?
But you got to remember that. Yeah, but you got to remember the British is fundamentally a libertarian. I mean, he's sort of like trying. He's sort of like a confused libertarian. He's a trap.
That's a good way to describe it. I don't really know him much. He's the guy that's on a academic agent stream all the time, right?
Yeah, actually,
yeah, he's on there and he's on.
Yeah, I watch academic. Well. I watch academic agent streams and videos because that guy's on the money. I don't think he's ever put out a piece that I disagree with. I'll put it that way.
I don't know. I'm thinking it's a crown tea in the making. We'll wait and see.
Well, no, it just seemed like I could just see him sipping his fucking tea with his nose in the air. Yeah, stick to the bathing suits and the guns, you dumb American bitch. And I'm just like, oh, I want to smack you. I get to smack the shit out of you.
Yeah, but don't confuse the accent for the
concept. I was gonna say the British are gonna wish they wouldn't have given up their guns a lot sooner than we would if we did.
Oh yeah, but you know the weird thing is we can get very creative when time comes. So.
And and I just need to specify there that was not me threatening him into a real life fight, guys. I wasn't pulling a Tonka there.
Fight me IRL, Britisher. Come on, challenge.
What? Oh, you're gonna be another Andy Warski and Tonka, is it?
I'm gonna add him on right now. Challenge you to an IRL fight on stream. Don't be a bitch.
Oh God, can you believe that shit? The fucking Tonka thing is so stupid. And I told you the how the fuck when it first was presented, I said it's never gonna happen, and it was a fucking joke. I wish I'd put money on the fact it was never gonna happen because there were people who were running books on that, you know.
Yeah.
I wish I'd fucking put money on it. Because it was just so fucking obvious, and that little fucking limp dick, and he's just totally killed his career, and everything just goes along with it.
Whoever did bet, you know, I bet Andy wins by default because Tonka doesn't even show up. They probably made a pretty penny.
No, but that's the thing. I mean, yeah, but he turned up and he was there in the ring and saying, "Where are you?" You know what I mean? It's like this is bullshit. You know, and he changed his name 3 days before. You know, I mean, what? Why would you do that anyway? I mean, what? It's not spontaneous. Like you just
well, and so the crazy thing is all you his first and middle name around.
Jesus. What a fucking waste.
Is he that worried about being doxxed? I mean, Andy Warski is much more popular and has pissed off way more people. And he's always just kind of put his name out there, right? Like,
yeah. Because everyone knows that the guy is like 300 pounds. And look, the reason that he won't fucking do anything is because it probably is going to take somebody to remove the rear part of his house to excavate it so that you can get out. You know, they're going to have to use like a forklift truck or something.
I like.
You know, this guy he's a sedentary creature. There's no doubt about that.
I like the FIB's explanation where what's really going on is that generations ago, it turns out that an Eskimo great-great-grandmother relative of Takasaw got desperate and had sex with a raccoon. So down his lineage, he's always been a proud gay furry. And
the raccoon thing.
and raccoons are not allowed to enter the blood sports arena with humans.
Yes, I saw that meme. Yeah, it's all fucking tame, and this is really the whole. Yeah, it really shows you what the internet is all about. You know, people threatening and I'm going to throw down. You know, throw the gauntlet.
See,
How many people
never-
really want to do that? You do that. You know, I've actually had that happen with me before. Like in a different environment. I was on Pal Talk. I said, yeah, fine. You want to come down? You know, I'll be there. Just give me a nudge on Pal Talk when you turn up at the station. And yeah, we'll sort it out. And guess what? It didn't happen because everyone on the fucking internet is blowhards. They don't have the strength of their own convictions.
Yeah, I was actually talking about we should bring back the Internet Blood Sports channel, but we gotta have rules, man. First off, you gotta have the hosts do not participate, right? Whoever's hosting this, like they do not, because the audience is going to decide the winner. You can't have the fucking host fighting people because they're going to be biased, right? The other rule, you're going to have timers, and we got the technology, man. Like people can only talk so much, and we'll have penalties for shouting over other people. Another rule. If you decide to start asking people if they want to fight in real life,
what are you, a fucking communist? What's with all these rules?
Insta lose.
Fucking
Right? Well, those are the only rules, right? You got a timer. If you talk over people, you get your time penalized, and you ought to lose if you go to Fight Me IRL.
Yeah.
Seems pretty fair. I mean, when we do our debate stuff over here, we try and keep it timed.
So debates are different than what the Kumite actually had going on. It really wasn't.
The Kumite was a joke anyway.
Right? Yeah, it wasn't people seriously debating any topic. It was just two people that had beef with each other talking shit.
It was just trash talk. You know, and everyone knew what it was. It wasn't. I don't understand why people were too surprised about it. It's like the cunt stream, right? It's the same sort of thing. You know what you're going into. Don't be surprised.
Like AP says, he was like 22-2 or something like that, with his only losses being to King Carl. But it was all jokes, right? Like they weren't pulling a Tonka where they actually hated the person they were talking to so much that they wanted to beat their ass in real life. Their egos weren't that fragile.
Yeah, but when anyone ever does that, I don't understand why people I can't understand that people really bought hotel rooms because they thought it was going to happen. I mean, really. I mean, I knew it wasn't going to happen. It was like, no, this is just internet blowhard bullshit. And it was never going to happen. But some people really did spend time, and they got the hotel rooms and they even traveled there. Just see Andy Warski go out and, prance around on an empty arena.
Well, I think the reason people went down there is because it was a fun meetup. Like everybody I know that went, they had pictures, they had fun.
Well, hopefully they did. They paid their money for it. I mean, I don't know how they're going to get reimbursed or whatever. I fucking hope Tonka has to pay for it.
If it was about the fight, you were stupid. If it was about just going down because all these YouTube personalities that you might have interacted with occasionally are all going to be showing up, then it makes a lot of sense. Right? Like T-Tac went, our boy T-Tac went down there. Tennessee Marine, obviously he was there. He lives in Tennessee. Mr. Misanthropic, friends with that guy, he was down there. I know Aiden Paladin went. I saw all these people hanging out, and they all had a good time. So, like I said, an amateur MMA fight that was going to last like 5 or 10 minutes was not even going to be the majority of what you were doing down there. So, the only thing they missed was probably what was going to be the most boring part of the night.
Yeah, but I mean, this is the weird thing, though. Didn't Tonka realize this was going to absolutely trash his and anything that he has? I mean, I don't know whether he depends on income or whatever.
You know what? It was a game of chicken. I bet you he thought Andy Warski was going to back out with all the shit he was talking.
Agree.
He fucked up on that one. He fucked up in a big way. That was a game of chicken.
That was a game of chicken he lost. He should have known he was going to lose it as soon as Andy Warski was like, all right, let's do it. All right. Like the day he got the contract,
and he's doing vitamin shakes and shit like that. Yeah.
The
Well,
only
you
thing- the
know,
only thing I
obviously
wish-
Tonka is not as smart as he thinks that he. Well, I mean, clearly Tonka isn't. Well, he's never been as smart as he thinks it is.
The only thing I
You
think would be
know.
awesome for Worski that would actually like give him like I'd say would push him over the edge as the winner of this is to keep training and like do an amateur fight up in Canada just because he's already done some training.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, yeah. But the thing is, I gotta say, he didn't exactly look like he was fucking buff. You know, he came out, and he's just like, he looked like an average kind of like weeb.
Yeah, no,
You know, I mean, that was not buff.
I know plenty of people-
He's
I
been
know-
doing 3 months of training.
Yeah, I know.
It
plenty of
wasn't
people that
good.
have done it. I know plenty of people that have done amateur fights, and a lot of times they look a lot like that, man. They're fighting in
Oh,
like
yeah,
whatever
no,
the
no.
fight- they're fighting like whatever
I'm
the
saying-
weight division is.
Fair enough, but I'm
I
just
mean,
saying he wasn't exactly looking buff. You know what I mean? It was not exactly Rocky. You know what I mean? When they unveiled him,
Yeah,
he's in a wheelchair and he's got the headdress on. He was not looking. You know what I mean?
Oh,
it was
I know,
not
I know,
like
I know,
Rocky.
I know. You look fit, but like you gotta imagine Andy Worski probably started from zero, right?
Well,
like no muscle tone. He had a little bit.
No,
of
we've
muscle
already
tone
seen
for
him. Yeah, but we've seen him before. He's just kind of like, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Well, whatever. He just
But you
didn't
give him
particularly
another.
like it,
You
made
give him
a
another.
major effort.
You give him like another 3 months to prepare. He can do a full month.
Hey,
of
look, he
just,
didn't
like,
even have a
training and
2-pack, let
studying.
alone a 4-pack.
Yeah. 2 months isn't enough time to like to build muscle and cut down that much weight. He would need another 3 months for that.
Well, I don't know. Whatever it was, I mean, he was happy to be there, so I'm pleased for him.
You know what?
Because Tonka made a total fucking ass of himself.
You know what those pros do to make weight, right? They
yeah, they usually go into, they sweat, don't they? You just go into like a sauna.
yeah, they don't eat any carbohydrates for like 3 days before the fight, and then they take a whole bunch of things that dehydrate them, and then they like do a whole bunch of steam baths just so they could drop 10 pounds to make weight. And then that night they just fucking carb up and eat a meal every hour. So everybody's about heavier when they actually get out there and fight.
But the thing is, everyone's doing it, so it kind of evens the playing field anyway, right? Because if everyone's doing that anyway, then it's really irrelevant.
It's true.
It's kind of stupid to actually say that. You might as well just recognize that's going to happen and just say, well, that's okay.
Yeah, it's actually a disadvantage. So you have the opposite situation where people are trying to get to weight.
Well, you'll give yourself kidney damage. You do yourself kidney damage by dehydrating yourself.
Yeah, you only fight.
That's dangerous.
Yeah, you only fight like once every 6 months, probably. So you're probably not going to fuck your kidneys up. But you actually have an advantage if you're the fighter that's trying to make weight or like doesn't have to do that, because cutting down like that, you're right, it's not healthy. But there's no guarantee that you're going to get your body back into like top energy production by the time the fight starts.
Yeah. Seems, I don't know, just seems, well, I mean, again, it's just playing the numbers, isn't it?
Yep. Well, that's why you also have fighters like Anderson Silva, I think John St. Pierre. They've fought in several different weight classes by doing all those different tricks.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't really pay attention to any of it. I mean, like I said, just the Tonka thing and stuff I'm not into MMA or anything like that. I think it's all bollocks.
Maybe that's why I can come in here and tell you that the match would have sucked, because I used to. I didn't want to be into MMA, but all my friends were into MMA, so they always buy the pay-per-view, and I would show up to the pay-per-view party, and eventually I watched enough matches where I was like, all right, man, this is kind of cool. It was actually a George St. Pierre fight that just made me just give up on it, because man, it's fucking rigged just like everything else.
Yeah, and well, the thing was, this wasn't rigged; it was just a fucking joke, you know.
This was a joke.
Tonka is still trying to work it, and then he says, "Well, do it again." So, well, look, you're the one who fucked it up by giving a false name, or giving a renewed name that you suddenly decided to have for no apparent reason, because you've got some weird disorder where you want to change your name randomly. No, it's like, no, you fucking organize it next time. I mean, that's what Andy Worski should have said. It's not like, if you're committed to it, you fucking organize it this time, and if it fucks up and you're the organizer, then it's definitely all on you. He should have called his bluff. Should have said, yeah, you know, you want it reorganized, fine. This time, it's your responsibility. You fucking do it.
Yeah, organize it and come here, bitch.
That's it. Exactly.
I will still fight you.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty sure that's
and he can continue doing his training. Maybe, yeah. You know, that would have been the most sensible solution. It's like, no, I'm not doing it. I've just done this one. You didn't turn up. Next time, it's on your back. So you want it.
You fuck me and all my fans, unless your fans.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll turn up whenever you say it, but this time you're gonna have to do the organization. And by the way, you know, don't fucking try. And you know what I think that was? I wouldn't that blood test thing.
That either.
Yeah, but the thing was, it was also the ID card, and that's a weird thing because he thought that he could put a plant in. He thought that he could like use a ringer because nobody knows what he looks like, right? That's what he was intending to do, was to use a ringer because he didn't want the blood test, right? So he had to use the ringer. That's what he was trying to do. The guy's an absolute fucking trog.
Yeah, I'm really not. At best,
seriously, that's what was going on. I promise you.
He put in the fucked up blood work to give him an excuse because, like I said, there were like 5 other things.
No. It wasn't the blood work. It was the names and the ID cards didn't match. The actual ID cards. So clearly the faces and things didn't match. There's a lot of stuff that were not aligned.
That piece of information is just one of 5 other things that he fucked up.
Yeah.
Right. Once again, according to the Tennessee Fight Commissioner, neither of the names on the blood work he submitted were even licensed to fight in the state of Tennessee. And he had 7 days before the fight to get licensed. So he had plenty of time to fucking do that shit.
Oh, no. I mean, this has been going on for a long time. This is a joke. I mean, everyone knows it's a joke, and the guy's made a total ass of himself. You know, and I'm telling you now, what he was hoping for was that the blood thing and the ID and stuff, that he was going to be able to get a ringer in. It's like getting somebody to do your exams for you. You know, that's what he hoped that he was going to do. I promise you, that's exactly what that cunt thought he could get away with.
Maybe, like, I will say that's possible.
Your money. That was what was in his head. I promise you.
I will say that's possible. I just thought I think it's more likely that he just wanted something on paper to give him a valid, like, an excuse where he can come out just like he did with his apology, saying, "I fucked up, man. I made a paperwork error." Like it was an innocent mistake. Something.
Yeah, that's exactly the same as Monday Matt going on about fucking gathering boulders and stuff. I mean, it's fucking pathetic. It means nothing. They've had months and months and months to do this stuff, and he could have had a blood test at any time during the whole of this thing, the whole build up to it, and he didn't do it, and he didn't actually provide his own identification. Then he suddenly changes his name 3 days before the fucking fight. What? I mean, come on. It's a joke. The man is an absolute farce.
He could have had all his everything in order probably 2 to 3 weeks since the fight was announced.
No, he could have done it literally. I mean, all he had to do was why would he change his name? I mean, the name changes where the problem lies. Why did he do that 3 days before? And then it's like, oh, well, the names don't match. We can't do this. It's like, it's bullshit. Now, I'm telling you, this is like the idea he thought he could throw a ringer in. He thought he could send somebody in who was probably like some massive fucking, gorilla, and just beat the living shit out of Warski. He would claim victory, right?
They would have stopped that fight at weigh-in.
Yeah, well, but that's what this prick was thinking.
You could have gotten somebody ripped like crazy, but was still in the weight class. I mean, it's possible you could throw in a ringer.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, really, he didn't really have to have the connections to get somebody that was willing to fucking pull that shit, and I don't think he does.
Yeah, but I mean, he didn't really think Warski was particularly a big problem, so, and you wouldn't need somebody who was necessarily big ripped. I mean, like I said, you look at Warski when he came out. I mean, he just looked like an average dude on the beach. You know what I mean? He was not looking ripped.
He would just need somebody with like a 3-2 record on an very amateur fight level, right?
Yeah, you don't need somebody who's like high class. You could easily get somebody. You probably buy him just a steak dinner and they'd do it for you.
Yeah. Yeah, but the thing is, though, why even give Tonka the chance to hang himself a second time? He doesn't deserve a second chance. He fucked it up. It's done. Move on.
Oh no, but that would be the funniest thing is watching him actually do hang himself a second time, where he actually does have to come out and expose himself, but or admit the fact that he can't expose himself because he is in a wheelchair and he can't do shit and he's just a bullshit merchant. You see, I mean, this is the whole point, right? Tonka's backed himself into a massive corner.
Well, no, it doesn't. Regardless of the fight stuff, enough stuff has come out that he's definitely a bullshit merchant.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, he's backed himself into the ultimate corner. He's fucked. His career is done.
Apparently, he was pretty good at it. I was listening to there was an interview last night with AP in the Politipod, and AP was explaining like now I realize it's kind of bullshit, but you know, he usually just kind of like slowly rolled this stuff out, man. Like it just kind of went in under the radar. It's like, no, man, I used to do this shit, right? And it stacks up over time where it's like you look back and you're like, yeah, none of that shit's true. But he didn't pull like some gay mouse that we know, where he just would like in one sentence just contradict himself 35 times and be so full of shit that it was obvious, right? He would just sneak it in under the radar, a little bit of bullshit at a time, just to build his name up. Kind of like what you would do if you were doing wrestling. That's the only thing I believe about Tonka. I really think he's at the very least a wrestling fan. And he probably did do a few bad.
Well, he's a wrestling fan. We know that because he always fucking goes on about it. But, you know, there's a lot. It's like saying that you're an armchair fucking, you know, general. You know, you can sit there and you can talk about the Second World War and you can talk about, you know, the Iraq War or whatever. You know, there's plenty of people who got lots of opinions about stuff. But that doesn't mean that you're competent. And then when you call out somebody and you want to actually, you know, you make a claim that you're going to do something and then you don't, that's a very big difference. It's all well and good, you know, being an armchair general, but don't try and take it IRL. It doesn't work if you don't have the tools. And he doesn't have the tools, obviously.
Well, I mean, if they were going to create a separate internet, I say him, Mundane Matt, you know, Crouton T, they could all go to that new internet.
What shit, man? Mundane Matt actually has an opportunity right now to go around to people and be like, yeah, I fucked up, but at least I'm not Tonka.
Yeah, I was saying, oh, yeah, you can drag out that way, yeah.
No. Kraut's dug his hole too deep, but Mundane Matt could totally pull that off. That's like a comeback mantra.
Well, yeah, but he can only pull it back if he ends up paying for a bunch of overseas, you know, accounts.
Yeah. Like, think of how awesome it would be if Mundane Matt came out and be like, look, I know what it's like to fuck up on the internet. I've done it plenty of times. It's completely my fault.
It's my career.
But Jesus fucking Christ, I have never done something as dumb as Tonka Saw. And just and have him harp into Tonka Saw. Like, you would get at least one solid redemption point for doing that.
Actually, just for the fucking backbone of it. I mean, just for the fucking balls of it, you know? I mean, it's like, I may be a turd, but I'm not a total shit. Yeah, I mean, that's really what he'd be saying.
Yeah, no, and
you actually get on and say, Tonka Saw, listening to this, and you want to fight me IRL? I accept. Set it up. Like,
oh my god! I love this. Yeah, Matt Jarbo should now challenge Tonka to a fight.
Anyway, we're gonna have to have a little bit more than 2 months to get me on a card to get down to 8. But give me 6, and I will do it just to prove that you're a bitch.
Seriously, I want to see a Matt Jarbo versus Tonka Saw fight. I want to see Matt Jarbo versus Tonka. That would be the easy. And then it's like, who's going to have the best excuse as to why it doesn't happen? We can lay bets on the excuses. I think of just both turn up and just sort of like hit each other with pillows or something.
Tonka Saw might be able to reach down, grab a boulder, and put it in his lap.
It's I'm going to throw rocks at you.
What's floating around in his wheelchair?
I got a great merchandise idea for Mundane Matt. A picture of him, you know, with his thumb, you know, giving a thumbs up sign, and underneath it, at least I'm not Tonka Saw. It'll be a great T-shirt. I'd buy it.
Yeah, you just say mundane Matt, and then underneath is like not Tonka Saw. Hashtag not Tonka Saw.
Oh shit! But no, we only got about 10 minutes left anyway. On that note, I think we're winding down. I won't be around tomorrow. I don't know if there's going to be a stream on the channel or not. But last week, Optimus did do a stream on Tuesday. But
Optimus, come on my show tomorrow. Knights of the Coffee Table.
No, the XL.
Yeah, there you go. And everybody go check out Excel's channel, and he's also hangs out on Pinoid's channel all the time.
I got a new channel that's me, Sinrise, Gulf City Stone Monkey, and Vash the Token Dargan. It's called Knights of the Coffee Table, and as soon as I figure out how to get there, I'll just share the link.
Yeah, throw it in the side chat here, and Jensen will throw it out in chat for everybody.
Yeah, no problem, mate.
And yeah, check out Pinoid's channel. You also hang out over there, and you're a co-host with Pinoid. I'll just wait for the link to go out before I wrap it up. Cabby, when are you guys going to finally leave the EU?
Oh my god. Well, the day Theresa May dies, apparently.
Wow. Ding dong, the witch is dead. Hopefully that day comes soon, huh?
Yeah, somebody throw a bucket of water over the bitch.
All right. Is that link out there, Jensen?
Yep, link has just been put out, mate.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for coming out. I'll be back on Wednesday. And I think we're doing Conspiracy on Wednesdays now. Right, Jensen?
Yep, we've moved it from Saturday to Wednesdays.
Is that OBS?
I'm not sure how we're going to run it.
Probably not. So you're welcome to pop in, Cabby, as ever.
All right. Good night. Good luck. And don't go to France.